inspired to create by the natural environment and what's happening in our neighborhoods, reading about wildlife that are affected by humans, and a lot of different resources, so different studies, scientific findings about how animals' behaviors are changing based on our inhabiting their territories. Creating art affects me in the sense that I feel like I am connecting to something bigger. So I consider myself a drawer, even though I do a lot of different mediums. Whenever I'm drawing and I'm hand to paper, I can't help but think about sort of caveman drawing, right? So it's the same act that we've been doing since long ago. It's the physical connection to a surface with your hand. So for me, if I think about it while I'm working on it, drawing is like connecting to something way bigger than myself. I feel that art's really important because we are in an age where we have a ton of science and a ton of facts about what's happening in our world, and I think we're inundated with it. And I really think that artists can take that information and transform it into something that is more visionary and helps people be able to absorb it in different ways. So I was at an event recently called Greenhouse, which was 100 artists up at UBC with a handful of different speakers talking about the need for climate action. And my work, I mean, it definitely ties in, but it's not straight up climate action work. But I went to the event and I learned so much, and that kind of message about what happens, like how can artists lead the way towards positive change, and that sort of facts about science and technology are fantastic, but there's no vision. We need to give people a vision of what's next. If we do all of these things towards positive change, what does that look like? And that's where artists can come in, interpret the details, and come up with different ways of understanding them and also seeing what will come later on. Making artwork for me is all about service. So rather than volunteering with wildlife organizations, which I do and donate to as well, for me, creating is about pulling together different environmental interests and creating a story or reframing it in a way that people think about it differently. So I did a lot of work about wildlife stats, for instance, the number of bears, for instance, in BC that are by month, by year, that are destroyed because of primarily their interactions with humans. So when I was creating that work, it was really about trying to find a new way to present it visually that had an impact that was greater than just a number on a page. So that work I felt was really successful, and it's because it provided a different way of viewing an issue that we're facing with wildlife. So all of my work comes from a place of wanting to relay something factual or something that I see as an issue or something that maybe people don't generally think of as an issue, but reframing it in a way that makes them think and hopefully makes them leave the work and apply that sort of behavior or a change in perspective in their daily life so that it actually positively impacts wildlife in the real world. that's beside me here, it's a piece called Panorama. When I first created it, it was 2020, and it is 14 sheets of paper that connect together. The first time I showed it, it was one big long piece, which is 30 feet long, but obviously right now I have it displayed doubled up. The work itself is actually inspired by the footage from my backyard security camera. So I really love security camera footage, especially at night, which is what this is inspired by. And it's about the different types of animals that I see in my Port Coquitlam backyard. So it includes a lot of bats and rodents and owls, but also a lot of raccoons, coyotes, which have come into my backyard. I've included some bears, even though I've only had bears in my front yard that I know of. And the work itself is, the sort of the inspiration behind it was working on telling a story of all of the animals that have passed through, and also thinking about time and, you know, what the experience of is for a raccoon or a coyote that's passed the same area as another animal did an hour before. Like, what is their take of that particular path that they may have traveled, and can they tell who was there before, and what were they thinking when they were in that space, and what do they think when they see me? If they see me in my studio window from the edge of my property, how do I influence them? So the piece itself is kind of it's like a little time capsule of everything that's come and gone through my backyard, and me watching it is kind of another participatory part of it.